All the love you gave for the previous action to one fluffy, cuddly love ball for the fantastic Julia!
Sorry about that, I lost count. Right, so anybody here ever lived abroad? Yeah, cool. When I was 19, I lived in Italy. And there were a group of us, we were about 19, 20, 21. And I have to say, we got a lot of attention from the Italian men. And this is not an ego trip, I'm not Italian men, I'm not that fussy. And to be honest, it was a bit of a nuisance because they didn't understand the English no or the Italian no. And what we found out very quickly was the English phrase, "Hi, I'm English," translates into Italian for most men as, "Hi, I'm up for it." So we developed a rather complicated way of getting rid of them. And this entailed reciting the Jabberwocky in English but with an Italian accent. So you got this Italian guy, "Ciao bella, when I know you, when I love you." And he's met with, "'Twas Williga and the slightly torres di cane." Now, if you could keep this up and not laugh, they'd think we're speaking Polish and leave us alone. Back in London, nowadays, it is so much simpler. I just tell them my age. Because I say 32, 32, 32. But what men hear is tick. Because obviously, now I'm in my 30s, I'm suddenly desperate to get married and have children. Which was news to me, actually. Because I've been quite enjoying myself, you know, and I'm having a pretty good time. And yes, I might be husband hunting, but that doesn't mean I want one of my own. However, it would be quite nice to have somebody to fetch the spiders up the bath for me. So after much wailing and gnashing of teeth, I go to a singles night. Has anybody here ever been to a singles night? They are horrible, horrible things. And I think the reason I find them so awful is because I've misunderstood what they're for. The singles night, ladies and gentlemen, is not to save you from the single state. It is to remind you that you're better off there. Because there are two types of men at a singles night. Number one, the adorers. Now these men fall in love at first sight and throw themselves at your feet, begging you not to hurt them. And to be honest, I find that quite annoying. Because they impede my progress to the bar. Now, I'm not the kind of girl to walk all over men, but if there's a gin and tonic waiting for me, I can't guarantee I'll always go round. The other type are the James Bonds. Now, these guys are so far in denial that they're at a singles night that they try and make you feel glad that they're spending time with you. And they're sitting there, leaning over you, flashing cheap Rolexes and talking about a sports car they don't really have. While you're leaning away, smiling, nodding, and wondering why there's never an ejector seat when you want one. So I thought, well, we'll go out with friends. You know, meet people through friends. And that's another minefield. You know, because if you fall in love with a guy that only wants to be a friend, you know, that's disappointing. But let's face it, at least you've got a friend. And, unless you're particularly quick on the uptake, a whole new wardrobe of clothes. The other way round is a bit more awkward. Because I have to say, I am terrible at picking up hints. Okay, if a guy's interested in me, I need it in writing. This is, after all, what Valentine's Day is for. And for the men out there, here's a little hint. Sign your name. That cute question mark thing people do? Useless. I will never, ever guess. But, yeah, so I'm with a guy. We're just friends. He's been quite friendly. I have no idea he's interested in me until his tongue is halfway down my esophagus. And I'm standing there thinking, shit. I have perhaps left it a little late to mention that I don't find him remotely attractive. And And have you ever been kissed by somebody who seems to have learnt the technique from too many films? Now, I wouldn't mind if it's Gone with the Wind, but this guy's like the long goodbye. You know, you're there for hours. And as I'm fighting to keep my airways clear, all I can think of is, would a knee in the groin ruin our friendship? And I think in the end, yeah, probably. Because it'll hurt him and I'll feel bad and then he'd make me think I ought to kiss it better. and I just don't want to go there again. So, anyway, imagine you finally got your bloke. The last question for the girls is, should you go for a younger guy or not? How much does the age gap matter? I mean, personally, if it's a few years either way, then who's going to mind? But when you're talking decades, you probably ought to think twice. And I'm thinking of the Ulster MP's wife, Iris Robinson, and her toy boy lover. No, I mean, to be fair to the woman, 60, she's looking pretty good. You know, I mean, good luck to her, I say. But at 19, sex for him must have been like rummaging for loose change in an old sofa. The upholstery's faded, the suspension shot, and the joints are definitely creaking. You know, and I can see what's in it for her, but for him, what could possibly be in it for him? Well, in this case, it's probably about £50,000, and a bald sweet covered in fluff. The one thing that troubles me with these massive age gaps is, what do you say to your lover afterwards? You know, you're lying there, drenched in sweat, your body still thrumming from pleasure, as you watch your lover getting dressed. And as he fiddles with his tie, you raise yourself up onto one elbow and say in that deep, sexy voice he finds so appealing, "How are you getting on at school?" So I have to conclude that this dating lark is far too much like hard work. So I'm going to leave you now with the thought that I'm just going to go and buy a cat. Thank you and good night.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's a